And we're back. This is Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback. So ProPublica recently talked about these billionaires with Roths. I'm sure you saw that and said, wow, this is what I've been telling people to do for years. Maybe they were students of yours. Maybe so talk about what happened with Peter Thiel if people didn't read the article. And
oh, yeah.
What were your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, Peter Thiel has $5 billion supposedly in his Roth IRA. So it's like the old question, Josh, how do you become a billionaire? All right, first, you got to have $1 billion. You know, that's once you have $1 billion, then it's easy. But here's what he did. First of all, what he did, and I know the congressmen and senators are all up in arms about it. He was just a good investor. What he did was totally legal. Back in 1999, he contributed $2,000. That's all. $2,000 to his Roth IRA. That was the limit then. And he was under the income limits because he didn't have much in earnings. So he qualified for a $2,000 Roth IRA. He put $2,000 in. Then he took $1,700 of that $2,000 and bought a new stock for PayPal, startup stock for 1/10 of 1 cent per share. So he was able to buy 1.7 million shares for $1,700. That's the only money he ever put in a Roth IRA, that $2,000. And then he invested as the PayPal took off. He invested in other companies, Facebook, all of these other companies. And P.S., he's got $5 billion in his Roth IRA, all growing tax-free, but not so fast. First of all, I think he's about 53, 54 years old. So he has to wait until 59 and a half before he can touch any of it. The 2,000 he could take out anytime. You can always get your original contribution back. So he can get the 2,000. But what is he going to live on till he's 59 and a half? Some people have suggested we start a GoFundMe page for him to, as a bridge loan to get him to 59 and a half before he can touch his $5 billion, which by that time might be $10 billion, all tax-free. But it's not over yet. And that's totally legal. He's just a great investor. He seized on an opportunity, sort of like a lottery ticket opportunity. It's not going to happen to most people, but he used the tax laws. But here's something. Remember, I said it's all tax-free, but it's not estate tax-free. When he dies, he's a young guy. Hopefully he lives a long and happy, healthy life. That could be worth $30 billion. And that's when the government is going to put the boom down. Who knows, on a $30 billion estate, it might be more than half of it goes right back to the tax man. But don't worry, there'll still be some crumbs his family will be able to somehow live on. So it's not over yet. It's an important point when they say Roth IRAs are always tax-free, income tax-free. They are included in your estate, but the estate.
So that hit piece was a little bit misleading.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, they made it sound, and all the senators said, how did he do that? We have to stop people. Stop people from what? It's speculating, investing. You're talking about one person that may represent 1 million or more other people that lost fortunes speculating. That's what investing is, investing for a return. What are you going to do? Tell people you can't invest. If you invest, you're going to limit the returns. Then what's the point of the stock market? So he just, he seized on an opportunity that came across to him. If they have one piece, some of the senators worried about this, where they may make a point, maybe he had access to investments that other investors didn't have access to. Maybe that's something they might say, well, it has to be, you can only invest in things that everybody can invest in. That may be a fair point, but he didn't do anything wrong, and it's an aberration. But it does bring out the point that if you want a place to make some money, or if you think you have a good stock or good investment, you want it in a Roth, because everything there will grow income tax-free for the rest of your life.
And Warren Buffett also came out as having a big Roth. Talk about that.
I don't know about that. That's the first I'm hearing. How does he have a Roth? When did he do the same thing? I only heard about Peter Thiel.
Yeah, I heard he had like 20+ million that he Roth.
Oh, well, that's pocket change.
I know, it's pocket change.
Yeah. Peter Thiel, you're talking $5 billion in an account. So Warren Buffett must have done something similar, and it grew. But it's the same idea. If you're going to do something and you have a good investment idea, you probably want that investment to appreciate in a Roth IRA where it all earns tax-free. You can pull it out tax-free for the rest of your life, income tax-free.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was like 20 million, which is pocket change.
Yeah.
But he came out in the article. Now, how could somebody actually do that today? Now, for Peter Thiel, he put in PayPal and money when no one else wanted it. It was worthless. It wasn't publicly traded then.
1/10 of 1 cent per share.
Yeah, so that's remarkable. Now, I've heard over the years something called the rollover for business startups.
Don't go into that. You know what? You can tell when something may not be a good idea when IRS gives it a name. IRS named this exactly the name that you gave it, Rollovers Business Startups. And IRS uses an acronym called ROBS, ROBS. When IRS names something ROBS, you probably want to stay away from it. It was a strategy which I probably wouldn't go near, where let's say you have a small business or you're a startup company.
No, I didn't know if that's what Peter Thiel did.
Oh, no. He didn't do that at all. He had he already had money in an IRA, in a Roth IRA, and invested it in that stock. That was clean. That was no problem at all. The ROBS thing you're talking about is when, say, a person has an idea for a startup business, but they don't have the capital. But they have money in their IRA. So companies market this ROBS transaction. That is not at all what Peter Thiel did. What he did was fine. He had money and he invested it. They tell you that you could roll your IRA money into a 401k you set up for your new company and use that to finance to buy the company's stock. The problem with that is most financial startups fail. So you have the double whammy. Your business fails and you used all your retirement savings. Now you have no business and no retirement savings. That's what happens to most people. So don't go near that kind of strategy. That's not at all what Peter Thiel did.
I didn't know. I thought that was maybe what he did.
No, he did it. What he did is very simple.
So basically, he had old money in a Roth.
Yeah, he had $2,000. He used $1,700 of it to buy this very cheap stock, and he could have gone broke. It could have gone, down the tubes like most startups, and then you would never even know his name. But it happened to take off, so now you know his name. But that's 1 in a billion people.
And what's the difference between that and that ROBS, which you are against? And
well, the ROBS is really for people starting their own business and want to finance it using their IRA without paying the tax. What Peter Thiel did, he contributed to a Roth. In other words, he didn't take any tax benefit at all because there was no deduction for the money he put into his Roth. This is about taking IRA money, the ROBS thing. I don't even want to give people ideas, but don't do that.
Yeah, avoid it. When things have a weird acronym, avoid it.
Especially when the IRS names it ROBS. That means you're getting robbed.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jalinski Advisory Group.
Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and top of the $1 Million Roundtable, are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jalinski or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at www.jalinski.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jalinski and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature, is provided for informational purposes only, and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback LLC.